Hi, Leslie's. Thanks for the interest in the tool shop and the idea for a video. I'm not sure where this is going, but I just thought I'd take you on a little tour of where we're at. This sign was given to me by Pete, Casey, and Eleanor a few Christmases ago, and it's pretty much bears it out. It's a good place for kids to be and learn. And as we can see, we pass by all the exercise equipment and all the stacks of crap that's around here, and we can enter the safe zone, the mail zone in here. All right, the entry place is where I store my joiner and my thickness planer, and all the overruns are wood that I've planed and haven't found a use for yet. This room was actually going to be, and I think it still will be, an art room for me. I'm currently in a spare bedroom downstairs here, using it as an art room, but this was intended to be the actual art room. That's why it's not finished yet. Pretty basic. Anyway, lots of lumber, lots of crap. And I'll try to move slow, because one thing I hate in videos is when people move the camera so abruptly. Anyway, on this shelf, I've got sharpening supplies and some old drawer glides that I'm still going to use, some sharpening supplies, whetstones, oil stones, water stones. No rolling stones though. A little toolbox and just a bunch of stuff. Here's the main arena, the main ballroom where all the dancing takes place. My chop saw. I wanted it rollable so I could take it outside if I needed to in the garage. Haven't done that, only once, but I've got it set up so that when I have a long piece of lumber, I can put it through that little window opening there. Normally, if I had the other room as an office, I would keep that window closed, but on long overruns, on long boards, if I had to cut them, I could run it through there, so I can make allowance for that. My bandsaw, special bandsaw for me, because Pete used to like to make tools and toys like guns and things like that. And one time, I think he was about, I don't know, 11 or 12. My mom died, and Todd and I were dividing up the estate furniture and things like this, and he heard us talking about, you can have this if I can have that and all that. And so Pete liked the bandsaw so much, he says, "Dad, when you die, can I have the bandsaw?" So I never forget that when I look at the bandsaw. My shaper, it's kind of like a big router, stationary router. And up here is all my tools, my air guns and my Sawzall, and a whole bunch of stuff in there. Just sanders, like disc sander and finish sander. And to keep the dust out, we've got a dust extraction system, kind of fancy, and the piping runs around like this, and I can take these down and hook them up to mainly the planer is the culprit here. I can also hook up the shop vac to the table saw. That's handier. And the main desk, this was an old weather service desk I think we requisitioned out of the office when they were upgrading. Here's all my clamps. I can hold anything, anywhere, anytime for however long you want. All stuff I've needed. Maybe not every time, but it's stuff that's kind of cool. And there's my compressor. That little mold down there, right there, is meant for a cement mold. It's a cement mold for a garden bench that I was going to make, and I haven't done it yet, but I'm still thinking about it. Saw blades, and here's my little tools. One of these was my grandfather Pete's. He made that chisel, I think. A couple of fillet knives over here, which I haven't used. And I keep this picture kind of going from my days of interest in sailing. I keep the kids' toys down here. Their creations. This toolbox here, it was made by Tim. It was a Christmas present one year, I think, when we first moved here. And I remember the Christmas day. He said, "Dad," I opened the box up. And he goes, "Dad, I made that in metal shop, and the handle's off a little bit." And he was making all these little excuses. I said, "Tim, you don't know how much I love this already." And I used this at the office to hold my colored pencils and pens when I was analyzing weather maps, and so it's pretty special to me. More clamps and such. This hat right here, I used that hat at George Evans Corporation when I worked during the summers, and after I graduated from college for about 2.5 years. I wore this hat all the time there, and I keep it in the shop just so I don't forget about the manual labor side of things and my history and things like that. It's pretty special. And I keep memoirs in the shop here. A note from Emily, and I love you note, and note from Pete. Again, pretty special. And these are all sorts of cards I've gotten for Father's Day, birthdays, drawings by the kids that I've been able to pack in here. I've tried to date a lot of them so that once in a while when I'm down here, I'll pull them out and just take a look at them. And it's kind of a refreshing thing. My radio, so I can go in my little inner sanctum here and listen to Rush Limbaugh every day, which I do. And another little drill press meant for a special project. In 2015, I was interested in, and I still am, in perspective drawing, and I had an idea for a product, a template that you could lay over a drawing tablet or a booklet, and it had all the right perspective angles. You didn't have to figure out where the vanishing points were or anything like that. Anyway, I was going to invent one of these things and try to sell it, but it turned out it was going to be too expensive. But I did have an inventor's notebook going, and in some ways I'm kind of sorry I didn't pursue it, but I did write over a 4-month period or so my approach and the progression of this template, and how it will simplify perspective drawing and things like this. And like I say, I'm kind of sorry I didn't follow through on it, but didn't have the money. But I'm waiting for the day when I can buy a CNC machine which will do all the work for me on plastic template material, or I could just go ahead and sell the template idea to a manufacturer and have them make it and then pay me for the invention. But it was going to cost me $5,000 to $10,000 just to pursue a marketing plan and a lawyer and all that stuff, and so it was something that I didn't follow through on. I just couldn't. But here's the drill press that I used. I bought this to use that for to make the template, and my grinder. This little drill press over here this was my Grandpa Pete's. I remember it being in his basement. This was back in the 60s. So this thing is of 1940s or early 50s vintage. So it's 70 years old. The spindle is kind of losing some of its ball bearing or sleeve bearing stature. So the spindle wobbles a little bit. I might want to do an upgrade to the drill press. I'm not sure, but that depends. They're about $1,200 now for the good ones, so that may wait. And back here is my little stained glass and dumping ground area. I like airplane kits. I bought some at the EAA fly-in in Oshkosh a few years ago, and I just, when I find them, I collect them, and I haven't put them together yet, but there's some here for waiting for Oscar's approval and compliance. Here's my stained glass bench that it's a table. It's just a platform, lighted table that I put together stained glass creations that I make from time to time. And this was going to be a corner computer desk. Still working on that. I'm going to put some inlays on it, so that's a work in progress. I made Rob a Minnesota Twins stained glass picture that a few years ago. That I'll have to send you that picture. I don't have it readily to slide in here. But here's my stained glass stock and all sorts of hardware, nuts and bolts and whatever, and a few other tools, more than what I need. Oh yeah, here's Oscar came. I remember Oscar. He was about, he couldn't have been more than 3 years old. I remember it was a winter day. He came over. It was Valentine's Day, and I saw him get out of the car and bring this picture in, and it has a whole bunch of hearts painted or stuck to it. And to show him how proud I was of it, I hung it up in the living room, and it hung there for like 3 months, and then it was gone one day. And he came over. He said, "Grandpa, where'd you do it? Did you throw away my picture?" I said, "No, Oscar." I said, "It'll always be here," and I meant that. It's pretty special because it's his creation. So you can kind of tell by the timbre of my voice just how special it really is. Bar clamps hanging from my ceiling, and I think that's just about it. No big deal back here. Just another stock of lumber. That's a to be finally completed radio controlled airplane there that I'm working on. See, I'm always working on something, and I work on it for a little while, then I give it up. Then I work on it for a little while, then I give it up. Anyway, that's my shop tour, and this is the dumping zone. Oh yes, all my railroad books up here that I like to look at. I think this was Pete's creation. It was mainly like for CDs or DVDs. VHS tapes is what I'm trying to say, and you can sit them on there, and they stay standing up. Anyway, he made that for me, and I've got one of that was bubble wrap. Got one of Todd's geodes here that he gave us for Christmas present, and my old telegraph bug that I used to use when I was a ham operator back in the day. Little memories I like to keep out. Just nothing big, nothing deeply nostalgic, but I do it. And here I've got some pictures. I had some movies laid out that I was trying to sort through and sort and save and organize. Anyway, this is my dad's high school graduation project for Manual Arts. It's a cedar chest that he made in 1928 at the old Manual Arts building in Moline, and I'm still keeping it. We're not giving this one up. Anyway, that's the tour. I hope you enjoyed. Oh, here's one more thing. Grandpa Pete made this for us when we were, I don't know, 8 years old. He was a wood carver. He liked to carve figures, and so he gave us this little dancing man, which I thought was kind of cute. Had to repair it once or twice, but still stuck. Anyway, that's the tour. Thanks for asking.